this panel, and I am very happy to see that there's such a big turnout. And I also want to thank the students who came out tonight and took time off their very busy schedules, and I want to wish you all good luck on the finals. Well, my name is Gonzales, and I am a third-year student here at the university. And yeah, I'm a third-year student here at the University of Idaho, originally from Rome in southern Idaho. I'm also the Director of Diversity Affairs for ASUI. And with that position, I get to work with a lot of multicultural students and student groups, and as well as offices at the university that represent the diversity of the university. And it's an honor to be sitting in this panel with, to be sitting on such a diverse panel, I would say, with these other great panelists, and I'm very excited. And I think I've learned a lot, as many of you sitting in the audience have also learned a lot from this panel so far. So I'm here to speak on behalf of the diversity in Moscow and the diversity in the university. And I believe that there is a lot of diversity in Moscow. I don't think there's a lack of diversity. And I actually looked up at some statistics and some numbers from the 2010 census just on the demographics of race in Moscow. So I will share those numbers with you. The white population was 88.2%. The Hispanic was 4.6%. The Asian population was 3.1%. American Indian, 0.6%. Two or more races, 2.7%. Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, 0.2%. Other is 0.3%. And the black population is 1.1%. The statistics for the black population, 1.1%, is very interesting because 1.1 seems like a very small number, but in reality, the percentage of the black population in Moscow is higher than the state average. It's actually almost double the state average, which is really interesting. And I do believe what Chief Duke said, that the majority of Moscow is very welcoming and very appreciative and inclusive of diversity. And that is thanks to the efforts by organizations like the Latah County Human Rights Task Force, the Moscow Human Rights Commission, and various university and community organizations that put on events like this one to celebrate diversity and to bring together students and the community members. But due to the past history of northern Idaho, particularly Coeur d'Alene, and the incidents with the Aryan nations from the 70s up to the 2000s, northern Idaho was left with a stigma, I would say a bad stigma, that many people still believe to be true, and that is that Coeur d'Alene and northern Idaho is racist, and that the people that live in these areas are not welcoming of diversity and multiculturalism. Moscow tends to get lumped up into this stigma because we are located in northern Idaho. When I was first considering coming up to the University of Idaho, a lot of my friends and my family asked me, were like, why are you going up there? They're racist. You're not gonna feel welcome. You're not gonna fit in. And it scared me. It truly did. It scared me a lot. And as I work with students who are from diverse backgrounds and who sometimes come from different states, this is the stereotype that they first hear when they think of northern Idaho, and it scares them as well. And it makes me upset that that's their initial thought, and that's something that they're actually worried about. Especially students from California and Nevada, I've heard from them that this was a real concern for them. And this stigma negatively impacts the city of Moscow, as well as the university in getting people to move up here, getting students from diverse backgrounds to come and be part of the university. When it's hard when the first thing that comes to people's minds when we talk about northern Idaho is either the KKK or racism, etc. But Moscow is exceptionally welcoming. I believe, and I believe the university students contribute a lot to the diversity that makes up Moscow. And diversity is not just about race. And I just kind of want to quote a professor, Professor Dale Graydon from the history department. Some of you might know him. But I remember him sharing a story. He used to teach at a prestigious university in Connecticut, and here's a story. He really changed my perspective on diversity. But while he was teaching there, he compared his 30-student classroom in the University of Idaho with his 200 and plus classroom in Connecticut. And he said how the 30-student classroom in Idaho is much more diverse than his 200 plus student classroom in Connecticut. And it's true. I really think that that is true. Moscow and Idaho is very diverse, and students are very diverse, not just because of race, but also religion, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, and sometimes we tend to forget that. And I think that definitely opened my eyes, and now I walk into a classroom with a very different perspective than I used to before. And I think the community does a great job in representing the community and the university do a great job in representing these different categories, these different groups of people. Now, it's very tragic what happened in Ferguson, in New York, in California, Las Vegas, San Diego. I could go on. And there are a lot of lessons that we can learn from Ferguson. And I think one is that racism is still heavily rooted in our societies and institutions, and that people are tired of being oppressed. I also think we have a lot to learn about power and authority, accountability, civil rights, perceptions, and most importantly, I think solidarity. I brought up Coeur d'Alene and the reputation that it is given because of the previous incidents. And even though the Aryan nations were forced to leave in the 2000s, their ideology is still very present. My brother's soccer team, he plays soccer for the high school in Jerome. They came up to Coeur d'Alene about a month ago to play for the state championship. And it made me very upset when they came back speaking or saying how parents from the opposing teams, from the local teams, were yelling racist slurs at them. His soccer team is mostly made up of Hispanic students, students who are working hard, who are staying out of trouble, playing a sport that they love, and it enraged me, and it made me very upset that this was still going on, and that the students were, seeing this, and now their initial thought again goes back to this: Northern Idaho is racist, they don't want us here, we don't belong. Now, I've also heard of stories from friends in Lewiston about black students getting pulled over repeatedly for no reason and then being harassed. And in Moscow, things are not perfect. There have been incidents here as well. But things could be much better, and I think they become better through education, communication, discussions like this one, I think are very important, where people can share their stories and voice their concerns. And I was hoping I would see some of the people who share their stories with me here so that they could share them with all of you, but I understand that it's deadly when finals are coming. But I hope that in another occasion they can share those stories with you. But I believe Moscow can stand out from this lump that we've been connected to through example, and I think a lot of what Chief Duke has said is very helpful towards that, towards moving away from the stigma, towards moving away from this bad reputation. I think that's very important. I want to thank Ken Fons for inviting me to sit on this panel, and I think just to end my time, I want to end with a quote by John Hume, recipient of various peace prizes. Difference is of the essence of humanity. Difference is an accident of birth, and it should therefore never be the source of hatred or conflict. The answer to difference is to respect. Therein lies the most fundamental principle, respect for diversity.